He just rage quit it.
Bro. Oh my god, bro. Like, that shit's a movie, bro. It's not that.
Hey, they said that guy's brain dead.
Like, bro, bro, and this goes for all fucking three of you, bro. If you get annoyed from the smallest shit, bro, you shouldn't be playing the fucking game, bro. Wendy's is hiring, bro. Dunkin' Donuts needs fucking someone in the back cooking up bagels, bro. Cause this shit's just annoying, bro. We all just black out. This shit's annoying as fuck. I'm getting on all day and losing to bumps. This was literally the freest fucking topic I've ever seen in my life. You know that? Like, I'm not even trolling either. Like, this shit was so free, bro. Like, come on, bro. Are you fucking serious?
User disconnected from your channel.
Bro's just out, bro. Yo, guys, it's been a while. Welcome back to another episode of the Borito Talk podcast. I am your host, Borito, the #1 CDL ESPN analyst / content creator in the world. And man, what a time it's been in Call of Duty. And you know, I'm going to get right down to it because I really wanted to elaborate on this point I made. So we're going to be going over a list of topics, and then I'm going to be giving like a brief overview of most of the teams, and we're calling it, you know. That's my format for today. So I want to get right into this tweet I made about Nastie. If you're not following me on Twitter already, if you want if you want to stay updated with my thoughts, I mean, I now tweet more than I make freaking YouTube videos. It's completely backwards now. But I was not a fan of the narrative that's been going around on Nastie, and I'm going to go into an in-depth explanation of it. But before I do, let's play this clip, and then we're going to go into my tweet after.
Send Boston into the sun, brother. Like,
damn.
I'm done watching them play COD, bro. I have it's so depressing that I have this opinion about this many teams already, and we're like not even halfway
literally
into
just started stage 2, bro.
Like, bro, the product that these teams are putting out is fucking awful. Nastie is in hell. I'm about to start a GoFundMe for this guy's buyout. I will bring it up every single time I talk about this team.
Sam?
I did see what he tweeted, actually, if you want to bring it up, Tom. I can't believe he is here, bro. I actually feel bad for him. This is a tier 1 friendship org. The fact that Snoopy is still in the league is insane. The fact that Cammy is still on this team is insane. The fact that Purj is still on this team is insane. This team just lost to Vancouver, brother. Like, I don't know what else there is to say about it.
I did call that, though.
Not only did they lose.
Okay. Where do I begin? So first, I'm just going to read my tweet for those of you on audio only, because obviously it's a podcast. Duh. Why would you not be on audio? Like, of course you would. I said, also, I do not like this feel bad for Nastie narrative. Although KOI fumbled not offering him a spot in the offseason, he had other options. You can't feel bad for someone who chose to join a team, then goes into interviews. Wow, what a tongue twister. Saying he's so glad to have a team that actually plays for the win, which kind of sounded like a knock at his old team, but I don't know. How's everyone playing for the win working out for you when 2 out of those 3 are averaging below a 0.9? Still think a second change is needed, but at least they did one. Okay. So, starting off with this whole Nastie thing, I want to preface by saying, I am a big Nastie fan, okay? I knew how good he was ever since Vanguard. When I locked on to eyes on him in Vanguard, I knew how good he was. You could see there's certain players, even if they're not superstar players putting up 1.2s, 1.3s every series, there's certain players where you watch, if you are actually one of those people who watches the game, watches the minimap, sees what players do and how it affects their team, instantly you could tell watching Nastie in Vanguard, he plays the game the right way. There's certain players, there's not much, like, you know, if we're talking about the rest of the league, that's not the top players, even some top players up for debate, but there's those handful of people that you watch and you just See, they play the game the right way all the time. They're never playing for statistics. Everything they do is right. If they end up having like a 1.2, it's because they just played a good game. Overall good game. It didn't come from kill whoring. It was just an overall good game. And Nastie's always been that type of player who just always played the game the right way. Okay? But now let's get into my point about feeling bad for Nastie, okay? Let's get into my point of feeling bad for Nastie. So, in the offseason, you could take Optic out of the picture. They're not making a change. FaZe already had a Buzo 4 lined up. Okay. LAT had eyes on a BZ. They got a BZ. They're looking for an AR. Apparently, Nastie was not an AR they're looking for. They had Celium, They had Celium. They had Kenny, Like, they had better players. You could argue Nastie's a better player than Kenny. Friendship Cheese there as well. Koi was like the number one team. I was like, they need to pick him up. They need to pick him up. But apparently, like, there's no way they made him offer. Because if they made him offer, there's no way he's not taking it to play with Kleenex Joe. And he would definitely take that. So that's 4 of the top teams. Paris, he was rumored to join that team. Whatever happened behind the scenes, that fell through. I mean, Ghosty and Sib, obviously big names. They probably just wanted that roster. Instead, it feels like more of a pack-a-punch, which is also like another thing. Like, that name value on paper really does matter sometimes. Like, Nastie is a good player, but when you put his name next to Ghosty or Sib, like, those names just have more of a oomph to them that could influence like decisions, I feel. Okay, so that's 5 teams. Miami, you can't join. That's 6 teams off the table. You look at the other teams. G2 maybe got an offer for there. Definitely could have joined that team. Probably in place for Skies. Nastie, Mamba, Kremp, Estral. Sounds like a pretty pacey, good team. Falcons. I'm sure Kismet was not their first option for a flex AR. Nastie was right there. Maybe had an option for that. Maybe didn't want to play with AG or MC. But that was the other option. Vancouver, obviously, was Sabri. Probably not going to do that. Cloud9. That team was just, like, never good. Probably not going to join that team. And that leaves, like, Boston. So that's 3. Carolina. Probably not joining that. And then, yeah, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. So there was at least, I would say, 3 options. Okay, so let's say he didn't get an offer from them. But this is going to get me into my long rant about Nastie. Because I've listened to a lot of Nastie interviews. I've read a lot of Nastie interviews. So I could kind of see where all the mistakes are here. So how can, first of all, let's talk about from the POV of joining Boston. Do you not do your homework like before like you join a team? Like, actually, honestly. I even said when the rumors were he was joining that team, Boston upgraded, but Nastie downgraded. Granted, the top options were not there. They got occupied, but there were still better options. Do you not know the team you're joining? And if you were joining that team, like I said in the replies, because people were replying, everyone's just yapping, everyone's saying a bunch of stuff. If you're joining that team and you know how they were last year, would you not be asking if they're making any more roster changes or anything? If you do your homework on the team you're joining, if I knew I was joining Boston Breach and I saw that one documentary that they made when they were so content, they were so happy to go against Optic and just lose. They were so happy to go face down, ass up, like eyes closed, and just get penetrated by Optic. Like, Nastie just came off of a year where he had like 4 top 2s in a row. Grand Finals of Call of Duty World Championship. Like, he's going head to head with the phases, the LATs, the Optics all year. Like, he's at the top of the league, like all of Black Ops 6. Like, besides like the first stage, of course. But he's like at the top of the league. He's fighting against the top teams. Teams want to scrim Surge now. Teams want to learn stuff from Surge. So you're telling me you go from that where your expectations now where we have to win. Like, you go from an expectation of thinking you could win to now joining a team who doesn't even know what that feels like and doesn't even know what that's like because they can't even have confidence going against a top team in the league. They just turn over in the fetal position. Like, just from a mentality perspective, it's off. Like, why would you join that team? Like, especially with Nastie, like, he's not getting any younger. And I'm not, like, trying to age anyone, like, not saying 26 is old, but, like, in the context of Call of Duty, you know, some people actually get phased out around that time. It's actually crazy how people view age. Slash was playing till he's, like, 31. But you're not getting any older, or, I mean, you're not getting any younger. You're from the EU. I think Nastie's main problem, and it's a lot of stuff I didn't put in this tweet, and I've seen in interviews. Nastie even said in interviews, he's not the type of person that likes to network. He just, like, sits back and just, like, hopes for the best. He's not the type of person. Brother, you need to be. After the year you had in Black Ops 6, you will, like, never have... Okay, he needs to understand something. And maybe he didn't have anyone in his corner, like, to tell him this, but I wish I was there to tell him, you will never have another year like you did in Black Ops 6, like, ever again. So when you have a year like that, going into the next year, you need to capitalize. And by capitalize, your stock is at an all-time high. Everyone now knows you could go head-to-head with, like, the top dogs. Like, you're a person that could perform in big moments. Granted, like, they lost all the finals, but, you know, like, to get there, they beat a lot of top teams. They beat LA Thieves a lot. And they beat FaZe. Like, they beat, like, a lot of the top teams a lot of the times. And they made it to all these grand finals. So you're already better than, like, 90% of the league at that point, because 90% of the league doesn't even know what it's like to even be in the finals and know what it's like to win or even be top 3. So you're already ahead of everyone. So after a year like that, why would you not go out of your way to, like, network, break out of your shell? You'll never have a higher stock than that again. Try to get on these better teams. Go to Falcons. I know I talk a lot about how, like, Pred and MC, their play style, but, like, a team with Nastie, Celium, Pred, that sounds way better. That sounds way better than the team he's on right now. They'd probably be doing a lot better because, like, Nastie's actually a natural AR player. He'd be doing way better in a team like that with players who've actually won before and know what it's like to win. Maybe, like, on a team like that, that team actually could have did some, like a Nastie, Pred, Celium X did. Like, that's a team that could have done some. Potentially shop yourself to G2. Like, no offense to Skies, but they would probably pick Nastie over Skies based off of his stock at the end of Black Ops 6. So, like, why would you not shop yourself around and get yourself in a better position and then end up on this Boston team and then everyone's like, poor Nastie. It is poor Nastie, but not in the way that people are saying it. It's poor Nastie is in, like, shame on you. Like, you actually should have done better. And I'm not even saying that from a disrespectful point of view. Like, I'm very high on Nastie. Love Nastie a lot. Like, I think he plays COD the right way. But I think he made a grave mistake joining this Boston team. It may have sounded good because, you know, Boston got a top 3. Woo. You know, they got that one top 3, but they were terrible in respawn. Like, S&D Merchants last year, it was an extremely lucky and fortuitous top 3, by the way, that they got. And every respawn, they would just troll. Their controls were terrible. Purj would be screaming at them in the comms like, these idiots don't know what to do. And that's Purj, the guy who's averaging like a 0.85. He's yelling at that team. Why would you join that team? If I watched that documentary... they even posted like that clip on Twitter like a long time ago. If I watched that documentary after the year I just had, if I was Nastie, placing all these top 2s, going head to head with Optic, LAT, FaZe all year, and I'm joining a team where they're like smiling and just so happy to just face the music that they're not going to beat Optic and they're just going into the game just accepting defeat. Like, just based off mentality, I would not want to join that team. Like, I would think I'm better than that. Why doesn't Nastie think he's better than that? That's the point I'm trying to make. It is not shame on Nastie. Nobody should feel bad for Nastie. He made this choice now. He's got to lay in it. Everyone says it all the time. Formal said it multiple times. All of the greats in Call of Duty have said it lots of times. It doesn't matter if it's not your personality. You have to know how to network. You have to know how to like build relationships and talk to people, because it gets you on better teams, bro. Aches was like past his prime for like 3-4 years. He kept getting on the teams that he should have had no business getting on, just off a network, just off a personality, just based off of aura. You have to break out of your shell. You can't be the weird guy that just doesn't want to talk to people in the offseason and get yourself in better spots. You have to do what you have to do to advance your career. You're not going to be doing this forever. Take advantage of it while you can. And all of Black Ops 6, bro, you had such a high stock, and your team goes on to Paris. They're going to LAT. They're going to FaZe. Like, they're going to all these teams, and you're going to Boston Breach. No one's fault but your own. You could have done better. I mean, who knows how big of an upgrade Falcons maybe hindsight, that doesn't seem like, but dude, it's like the players. It's more just like the players. Like you just came off a bunch of top 2s, and now you're joining like a team of losers who haven't won anything. You could argue Cammy won stuff, sure, like 1 year, cool. MW 2019, I think they had one as well, whatever. But, like, you're pretty much joining, like, a team of losers. I'm pretty sure the only time Cammy won was online, too. I think all of his things are online. Like, I don't think he has any LAN championship. So, like, you're basically pretty much joining a team of losers who've been terrible in Respawn. And you just came off of a team that was, like, one of the best hardpoint teams in the league. And now you're joining a team that, like, doesn't even know how to play the mode. Have to do better. Have to do better. Have to do better. Okay. So that's my thought on Nastie. But, like, I mean, look, dude, he has the #1 overload KD in the league. Like, holy cow. He's got the #1 overload KD in the league. That's insane. That's impressive. The #1 overload KD in the league on Boston Breach. That is something for the eyes to behold as I try to, like, move around freaking pictures on my screen. #1 overload KD in the league on Boston Breach. I have to look into this. That's crazy. The fact he has the #1 overload KD. Okay. Let's take a look at Boston's overload record. They're 5-7. He's got the #1 overload KD in the league. They're 0-2 on exposure, 3-5 on Dan, 2-0 on Scar. Very interesting. Very interesting. And then we're going to get into Cammy officially departs Boston Breach as I take a sip of my water. Had to be done. Had to be done. It was about time. And now we're going to get into another rant about another player, aka Cammy. We're getting into 2 rants now in a row. Okay, so something I got to know. I'm going to pull up a Methods tweet. Should I pull up a Methods tweet? I don't even have her prepared because, I'm just like not prepared, Just not prepared for anything. But Methods made a tweet and he did put an asterisk in it, so that's great. He said, "Mark my words, in a month from now, after everyone watches Cammy and Challengers, they'll be saying he needs a better team ASAP. I'll be the first to admit I'm wrong, but I can almost guarantee it." Okay. This is another narrative I have to just put a stop to right now. This is another narrative I need to stop right now before it gets out of hand. We have to see Cold War Cammy again. Like, he has to go back to Cold War Cammy. That narrative will just haunt me for the rest of my life. It makes no sense to me. Okay, this is no disrespect to Cammy, okay? This is from a professional standpoint, not a personal one. I know people like to think things personally. It's from a professional standpoint. From a professional standpoint, okay? From a professional standpoint, he's just not good enough. And what is the hype about Cammy that everyone's seen that I'm not? He had one good year in his whole career, and now everyone's been hanging his hat to that year forever. He had one good year. It was in 2021 Cold War. People like to say Cold War Cammy. Let's take a look at that year. We're pulling up Cammy statistics, okay? Cammy statistics. This is Cold War Cammy. You know, he had a 0.97, 1.01, 1.0, a 1.22 in Stage 3, but not the major, though. Stage 3 online qualifiers. Okay. He had a 1.22, 1.04, 1.09, 1.22 at Stage 4 major. That's great. 1.08, 1.06, 1.03. Everyone was saying Cold War Cammy, Cold War Cammy. Those are good statistics, don't get me wrong, but that's not like superstar. I mean, granted, he was playing like a superstar because like that team like just allowed him to do whatever he wanted. And it's nice to see when players are allowed to do anything they wanted, do whatever they want on the map, they actually play good. Granted, they're going against Prime, Cold War, Atlanta FaZe, and you know that team was hard to beat just off of skill, you know? Like, that team was not the most structured team, but just off of skill, they were running teams' pockets. They were running teams' worlds. So, probably the worst year for him to be, like, the best player. But, I mean, they were, like, the number 2 team. So, everyone has been hanging his hat on that year. So, let's take a look at previous years for Cammy. This is the year that I remember vividly, and this is the Cammy that I know. Black Ops 4, he was getting rammed by Simp. 0.92, 0.94, 0.9, 0.88. And then, like, MW 2019, for everybody, even, like, the people that did good, I, like, barely count this year. It was, like, 5v5. Yeah, but even then, you can see the statistics, not super great. 0.94, 1.02, 0.93, 0.96, 0.99, 0.89, 1.00, 1.05, 1.13 at Week 13 Toronto, and then a 1.03 at the Call of Duty Championship. So that's like fine going into Cold War. And then like Vanguard, 1.04, 0.94, 1.03, and then 0.94, 0.86, 0.98. And then he had like back-to-back 1.07s in the Major 3 stage and the Major, and then 0.99, 1.0, 1.09, and 1.03. So that's like not a bad year, but I mean, Ultra didn't do anything that year, by the way. And then MW2. 1.05, but granted, this year was bad for a lot of people, even for like Simp. This was like a bad year, but Simp was still like a top 20 player in that game, and it was like probably like his worst Call of Duty. 0.89, 0.84, you know, whatever, just average stuff. And then Black Ops 6, we all saw as Black Ops 6, not the greatest, you know, not the greatest at all, not the greatest. So pretty much just been an average player. But everyone's been holding him to like the standard of Cold War Cammy. He's so good. You put him in the right environment. We've seen him in the right environment. And granted, it was against Cold War Atlanta FaZe, you know. I don't know. I'm just not seeing it. I'm just not seeing it. And I also kind of want to pull up this tweet from like this person. It pulled up on my timeline. I liked it. Wanted to save it for the show. And he titled it, "Players Too Good for Challengers But Not Good Enough for the League." And on that list, he put Awakening, Fellow, Brack, Prolute, Capsule, Arcides, Paul X, Asim, and Cammy. I would argue that right now, Arcides is not even good enough for challengers anymore. You know? And even Paul X and Asim, I would not even argue that. Prolute, I would not even argue is like too good for challengers. But, I mean, the rest of them are pretty valid. You know, there's other names. You know, there's, like, Fire. There's, like, Beans, you know, as they're putting in the comments. But I would rightfully so put Cammy on that list because going back to Method's tweet, you're going to see how good he does in Challengers and everyone's going to wish he's on a better team. Yeah, because he plays great in Challengers against that level of competition. But for a majority of his time in the actual league, not good. And I kind of want to pull this up because I almost forgot. So we're going to pull up Cammy COD's stats again because I forgot something. There's a small stint. He was on LAT and MW3. And that was like all a Major 1. And wow. Okay. So all a Major 1. Okay. I can't even pull this up. 0.96 and a 0.71. Granted, that's like a 1 series, but did not have the best time on LAT. And then he came back for Boston in the World Cup, dropped a 1.00. But, in challengers, he's a 1.24, a 1.23. Like he's frying in challengers. But in the league, Black Ops 6, 0.86, 0.96, 0.74, 0.95, 0.73, 0.96, a 1.04, 0.82, 0.83, 0.93, 0.88. Leaves a lot to be desired. And I'm just not high on him like everybody else is, and I don't get the hype on him. We'll even pull up his statistics here. We're gonna pull up his statistics because always gotta pull up the statistics just to do the nice little overview on people. He's just never been a good enough player for me. Never. And I think honestly, I hate having to say this line. I really do. Because, Call of Duty is a lot for a lot of people, and it's heartbreaking to even say this, but it's it's time to go do other things, honestly. 0.89 overall KD, 46th in the league. There's 48 players, by the way. 0.93 in hardpoint, 41st in the league. 0.87 in overload, the same game mode that Nastie is the number 1 player in the league. So Nastie is the number 1 overload KD in the league. Cammy is number 50th. Wow, 0.79 in S&D, 47th in the league. He's pretty much in the bottom 10 in the league in every category. That doesn't strike me as a player that deserves to be in the league. You can't blame it on the system either, because Nastie even said, love to have a team that everyone plays for each other, so it's not like this team was selfish, couldn't enable him. He was just not playing good. It's no one's fault but his own. And this narrative also needs to stop. I love how they have his nickname, Killer Cam, Cold War Cammy. We need to erase those nicknames. That was from 1 year. He got nicknames off of 1 year. That's got to go. Sorry, Cammy. I think your time's up. So he departs, and in comes Spart. And, I made another tweet. I love making tweets. I just love making tweets. Freaking tweets just freaking dope me up, dude. Tweets dope me up. So I made this tweet about Spart and just the whole situation in general. And for those of you on audio, obviously I'm going to read it out loud. It's story time. I like to read stuff out loud. Spart was the best choice for Boston, honestly. The guy can do anything. But man, the AR talent pool in challengers is honestly sad. I cannot lie. When it comes to CDL teams making roster changes, there's literally nobody that stands out at all. It's the reason why Kleenex is on a flex. It's the reason why Insight is undroppable. It's the reason why teams don't know who to pick up. There's a lot of good SMG options, but ARs are lacking heavily. And I'll leave it at that. I'm not going to read the rest. And, I'm happy for Spart. I like Spart. I was high on him. I was singing his praises for him to get back in the league. Saw him come back in on Cloud 9. Kind of left a bad taste in my mouth, but that team was kind of compromised last year. But it's still a good team, and they didn't make anything happen, so I was kind of confused about that. But he was the best choice. Honestly, there's not that many choices in challengers when we're talking about ARs, and I'm going to get into some AR options afterwards when we get into another clip that I play. But I think this Boston is a 2-person change. I think Purj is the next one to go. And in Purj's place, I have these people earmarked for multiple teams, so you're going to hear me say their names multiple times. I feel like this Boston team needs a more consistent slang SMG, badly. It's nice to have people that all play for the win. Of course, everyone should play for the win, but you need someone who's just good at getting eliminations, but can still play for the team. You don't need a Hydra who's actively avoiding the hill. But, this team would probably take Hydra if they could. But, that would, never happen. You need a person that's good at getting kills. The slang of this team is lacking severely, and it has been for years. But, I was the first one to say this is like the ultimate friendship team, and it is. They've been a friendship team for way too long. You got people who are too scared to make decisions. They all like each other. All of them have a spot in the league, so they're comfortable. No one wants to ruffle any feathers. They just want to coast off this spot in the league for as long as they can because, 4 friends could hold this spot together, and if they're not making roster changes and like the management isn't influencing any changes or whatever, then they could all just be happy collecting a salary, all playing together, and that's pretty much what happened. Like, they came in together and they just held the spot. They should have made a change last year. They didn't, because like, why would they? So with that in mind, the options I have for Purj, because Purj got to go, okay? Whatever. Snoopy could be an enabler. Snoopy could be a kill whore. He could be both. He could do both at the same time. But what this team needs, they need either of these 2 players. They need either Johnny or they need Standy. The word on the street, the information I've been getting, is the reason why people aren't picking Johnny up has something to do with like personality, type things, like the way he is. We gotta chalk that shit, dude. Johnny is a slayer. Like, that guy could get kills. That guy could get pieces. He strikes me as a player that could win you games, win you series, win you maps. Like, he strikes me as that type of player. And I argued even like Miami could use him, but now they got Triggs, who's playing good, and now Mel's is playing good, so they're not going to make any changes. But if you speak Spanish, that'd be a great move. Boston could use a player like that. Boston could definitely use a player like that. Spart, Johnny, Snoopy, and Nastie, that all of a sudden sounds like a way better team. I don't know how like the chemistry part like would go. I always try to like think if how players like would just mesh, talking to each other. I'm thinking Nastie, Spart, Johnny, Snoopy kind of sounds. I think Snoopy and Johnny like would get along good. I think they both speak Spanish, so I mean like that would be cool. And their S&D would still be good. They don't lose S&D picking up Johnny because Johnny's great at S&D, great at respawn too. And they could get more kills on the map, more pressure on the map. All of a sudden, Nastie doesn't feel like he has to do everything. You have Spart who can plug and play anywhere. He's dependable. He's a guy who could actually win you series if he's put in that position. He proved it in Vanguard. Like, he's actually a proven champion on LAN with a pretty much average team at that time. If they can pick up players like that, I mean, sky's the limit. There's not that many options, but those would be good options. They need more kills on the map for sure. And that is a perfect idea for them. The perfect idea. Johnny, Standy. There are some good SMG options. I have to pull up the list, honestly. Let me just pull up the list. I'm going to pull up the list. I'm going to just like go through some names, but I've gone through these names a million times. But this time I'm just looking at SMGs, obviously not looking at challengers. I'm not that high on like Capsule and Prolid anymore. I don't know. And I was like pretty high on Fire. And granted, he's on like the best challengers team right now, but it's like I really put a lot of stock in statistics when it comes to challengers just because of the way challengers is played. And if you're not averaging above a 1.0 in challengers, I don't know how it's going to translate to the league. Like, there's very few players I've seen averaging below 1.0 who come into the league and actually do well. It just proves that you could like shoot back, because the way challengers is and like the gameplay, it's not as synonymous with like the level at the pro league. And even the one at the pro league isn't like super high, but they're like the pro league level for like a lot of teams, especially like the mid pack, is not that great. But when you compare it to like challengers, it looks like it's like the professional level, like there's like a big difference between like the top 4 and then the mid pack, and then the mid pack to like even just like the bottom, and then challengers is like just like another freaking level below. It's crazy. I don't like Capsule on this Boston team. I'm not gonna lie, I don't like it. And everybody else, I kind of don't watch as much. I mean, I don't know. I mean, Turo's been getting a lot of like. Actually, I should really freaking talk about Yuli. Oh my God, Yuli. That's a player they should pick up. very high on Yuli. That guy needs another chance, dude. That guy Yuli needs another shot. Someone got to give him another shot for sure. I think it's probably like my top three. Probably my top three. Standy, Ojani, Yuli. That's the guy I was like actually thinking about. They need like a veteran players on this team. Like they need some veteran players who have like some sense of knowing what it's like to win. Something. That's what this Boston team needs. And yeah, I spent so much time talking about Boston. I'm kind of just gonna go through like some of the I'm not really gonna go through the matches, to be honest. I'm not really gonna go through the matches. Come on now. I'm not really gonna go through all the matches. I am gonna go through some of the completed matches for the CDL for like the past weekend. You know, some of them. So which one should I start with? Cloud9 and FaZe beat Vancouver. Surge, sure. Oh yeah, I guess we could talk about Kips right now. So I think Insight's a very lucky boy, okay? I think Insight's a very lucky boy. He is very lucky there's no ARs that are in a prime position with good PR that are just playing good in general, that bring the intangibles he can, that could take his spot. I think the intangible thing is really the thing that's keeping Insight on this team. I'm not going to lie. Like, that intangible thing is hanging by a thread, and it's the reason why he's been around for so long. And all these EU players are all 26. Him, Cammy, Nastie, all 26. It's crazy. It's like some sort of a trend. It's like the holy trinity of just like terrible EU AR players, except fuck Nastie's actually good. Very lucky boy Insight is. But the thing I like about Kips, I think Kips has like that, like, he has like that swagger to him, you know? He has that country swagger to him, like that confidence. It carries into the game. He doesn't seem phased. I think it's a good pickup just from like a pace perspective. But you have Aroma tweeting after like they beat freaking G2, like, oh, are you guys talking about Insight? I'm like, bro, where were you tweeting that during the LAT series? You weren't. But I'm not going to be fooled by one game. I've seen this from Insight many times before, and I'm not going to be fooled. We're going to have a good game. Everyone kind of forgets about it. Right back on the inconsistency train. I still feel like Koi needs to find another AR, but there's like no ARs that can slot in that spot. It's so crazy. Like they backed themselves in a corner in this offseason. Like, I'm thinking of the options that they should have pushed for, and they ended up with freaking Kleenex on a flex and Insight main AR just to pick up Real. It's like, oh, come on, man. Not good at all. We'll see how the Koi team performs. It does look like an improvement because Real is a very baity SMG. Real values his life too much. And Kips just runs, and that's what they need. They need more pace on the map, especially when you have players like Insight. Joe needs some freaking help in the engagement category, and I could tell Kips has like lifted a lot of weight off his shoulders. It's actually incredible to see. And yeah, I think we're gonna take a quick break. I need a quick break, and then we'll come back on this episode of the Borito Talk podcast. We'll be back. Okay, guys, welcome back. Let's get back into this, and I'm gonna skip to I'm gonna be going anywhere. I'm just gonna be talking about stuff for like the next 20 minutes, and then we're gonna call it. We're not gonna go an hour. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. I want to talk about this G2 FaZe series, okay? And I just made a tweet. Just made a freaking tweet, okay? Just made a tweet. These are my thoughts on the FaZe G2 Minnesota series from last weekend, okay? If I'm FaZe, I'm not sweating that loss at all. If anything, I might have a little smile on my face. The hard points look great, well improved. Hopefully they can stay at a level like that, because if they do, they will be a force. And I'm saying that because their S&D and overload's already really good, so they just need hard point. That's all they've ever needed. In like the history of Call of Duty, their hard points have just always been inconsistent. Besides the first time they played G2 where there was a raid S&D, they had played them on the same maps every single time. Same S&D, same overload, same HP. There's only so much you can do playing the same team on the same maps for the 50th time. especially in an online qualifier where nothing is on the line because there's so many games. I can imagine FaZe played those S&Ds just playing. I put no stock into that G2 win personally, but a win is a win, so that's great for them. Skies is improved, that's great. Kremp is always good in my opinion, but the team as a whole still leaves a lot to be desired. And Mamba celebrating a 3-2 win by winning Colossus and Scar S&D is really cringe, to be honest. Gotta act like you've been there before, sometimes. Every win and every loss looks like he put his house on the line. I actually thought that was pretty funny. Okay, so, yeah. I'm surprised no one even brought this up. Like, no one on the flank, no one anywhere brought up this point when it came to, like, the G2 FaZe series. They played 4 series, and every single series had the same maps. I'll even show you if you're on video, I'll show you. So here's like the 3-2 from the Major 2 qualifier. You pretty much see the same maps. Blackheart Hardpoint, Scarcity's always in there. Den Overload's always there. And then you see Colossus's. And then we'll go to their Major 1 tournament. They play each other twice in the Major 1 tournament. So let's pull up the first time they play each other. Blackheart again. Scarcity again. Den Overload again. Colossus and D was map number 5. There was a Den Hardpoint in there, but they didn't play it. Played the exact same maps over again. Let's look at the second time they played at the same major. Blackheart Hardpoint, map number 1 again. Colossus and D again. Den Overload again. Den Hardpoint again. Scar S&D again. And then the first time they play each other in the Major 1 qualifier. You'll never guess what the maps are, guys. You'll never guess. Blackheart Hardpoint. But there was a raid S&D this time before FaZe decided, yeah, we're just not going to play this map, even though lost is 6-5. Den Overload again. Colossus HP again. Scar S&D was not played, but it's there again. They play the exact same maps every time because they have the same vetoes playing against each other over and over again. So I'm going to say something about G2. So think about G2. I am convinced that G2 is one of those teams that did not want to play the new maps at all, because they knew how good their map pool was with these terrible maps in them. And if they took these terrible maps in it, they would be lost. They would be in an emergency state. If they took Colossus and Scar S&D out and just Colossus Hardpoint out, they would be fried. They would be fried. If they took Scar Overload out, they would be fried too. Even though like they haven't really played that map. But they would be fried either way. You take Scar S&D, Colossus S&D, Colossus Hardpoint out, they're screwed. They're screwed. So I can imagine they didn't want to scrim those maps. I can imagine. Okay, I can imagine. So from the perspective of this game, your FaZe, you have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 more matches to play. You're playing G2 on the same maps you played them at for the 4th time in a row in a match that means absolutely nothing. What are you going to do if you're on FaZe? Are you going to use like your best strats on Scar S&D and Colossus S&D on them? No, it's a qualifier match. You played them 100 times. Why would you do that? You're probably just going to play and just play for info and just play like that. Probably just going to play for stuff like that. Probably not going to like, oh, let's do our strat on this map. Probably not going to do that. Played them on Den Overload for the 4th time in a row. They play each other in scrims too. Probably play each other a lot. Probably sick of playing each other on Den Overload over and over again. They're probably just like, let's try some stuff. Let's not, like, whatever. So I put no stock into that game. And Mamba. Okay, we got to talk about Mamba. I've been saying this ever since he came into the league. Okay, I was also the first person to point this out. He is too emotional. Okay, and I'm not saying like emotional, like I'm talking about just game wise. I'm not talking about actual personality. People could be as emotional as they want outside of the game, whatever. But I think in game he looks too emotional. Every time they lose, it looks like he lost his house. Every time they won, it looks like he won his house back. It's like, brother, can we act like we've been here before? You beat FaZe in a 3-2 on Scar S&D and Colossus S&D, and you're just like face and nose up to the webcam, like blah, 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 blah. Like, bro, get a grip, bro. Get a grip. You're embarrassing yourself. Like, that's like, come on. act like you've been there before, and you're not even playing the best. That's the thing about Mamba, is he's not even playing that good, and he's talking like that. That really annoys me. I don't know why and then he's tweeting, proving I'm wrong, hashtag proving I'm wrong. I'm like, bro, Scar S&D, Colossus S&D, like, you take those maps out, you're not winning this series. Like, you can't play the other S&D maps at all. So, I don't know what he's on about. So, let's take a look at Mamba statistics. 0.95, not even bad. Hardpoint, not bad. I mean, it's 37th in the league, 34th in the league. S&D has a 1.09, great. Overload, 43rd in the league. Not lighting the world on fire, but the way he was talking, you would think he's like a top freaking 20 player in the league, but he's very inconsistent. And this G2 team has 2 inconsistent ARs. I like how Skies is actually playing a lot better now. He's actually made personal improvements, which is great. But it's like, if he's playing good, now Mama's just playing bad. It's like, you can never get both ARs playing good at the same time unless they're playing Cloud9. So I still think they have a lot left to be desired. I'm not going to be sold on this team until they start freaking winning other S&Ds that aren't Scar and Colossus. Like, those maps are just cheese. Those maps are going to be gone. As soon as maps are gone, they might be compromised. I can't even lie. And from FaZe's perspective, and also I just want to say, I'm still very high on Cramp. I'll always be high on Cramp, even though sometimes I feel like in S&D he may do some overchalls on 5-5 and lose the maps. I mean, against Koi, I think. And then Estriel, I mean, everyone's high on Estriel. For some reason, I'm just not. And he has great statistics. But for some reason, I don't know what it is. I'm just not a fan. He has a 1.0 overall KD, which is 20th in the league. 1.04 in hardpoint, 14th in the league. And then, like, the S&D and Overload are, like, whatever. But not really. I don't know what is about Estriel. I don't know what is about the way he plays and the way he got. I don't know. It's not doing it for me. I don't know what it is about Estriel. I may just have to, like, really watch their games and just, like, really try to just, like, get a definitive. I don't know. I feel like he's just going to be, like, one of those players who's just not going to win the big one. Just one of those players that's going to be in the league, getting paid, and that's it. I don't think he's going to be doing anything else. He had like that one top 3 with LAG. They instantly got put into reality check in MW3. So, is what it is. I just think he's an average player. I don't know. I think every player in the league is good, but like if we're talking about the context of like in the pro league and how they play against other players and what they do on the map, I just think he's average. I don't know. That's just me. And from FaZe's perspective, so good to see the hard points like this, like the Blackheart. They played Blackheart so many times now, I'd be surprised if they weren't good at it. They've looked trolly on that map in the beginning. It's very clear they made adjustments to just the sheer amount of reps they've had on that map, and they've improved on it. That's great. Colossus, 250 to 140 against like arguably the best Colossus hardport team. That's great if you're FaZe. Like, that's a map in your map pool. Like, if they play Optic, they might score up on that map, I swear. Because Optic's going to ban Blackheart, obviously, because now FaZe is good at that map, so they're definitely going to ban that. And if you're FaZe, you're probably going to ban, like, Exposure. So maybe you might get, like, a Den and Colossus, you know, if you play Optic. You might even get a Scar Colossus. All depends what Optic picks. I don't think Optic's going to pick Scar, so you will be seeing Colossus in a series against Optic, and them looking this good at this map, I'd love to see them playing against Optic. Like, that's what I really need to see now. I don't even think they've even played each other yet. I don't think FaZe and Optic have actually played each other yet. I feel like they haven't. I have not seen that map yet. Have I? Oh, they played each other in the qualifier. Okay, they played each other in Major 1 qualifiers. A quick 3-0. That map was so quick I forgot about it. But they do play Optic March 7th, so that's like next weekend. That's great. That's going to be a good game with the updated vetoes. And from FaZe's perspective, their hard point, just over the years in general, I mean, it's another thing I'll never let go. There's a lot of quotes when it comes to FaZe I'll never let go. Like, one is the 0-4 over Neptune. The other is Simp saying they've never really had a hardpoint system. Absolutely mind-blowing hearing that with the players that they've had and the coaches that they have, that they've never had a hardpoint system. It just absolutely blows my mind. if they could play hardpoint at the level they played against G2, they will be an undeniable force because they are like the best overload team. They're good enough at S&D that they could beat anyone in S&D. So if their hardpoint's good, the sky's the limit because they're guaranteed an S&D or overload in a series all the time. So if you can get good at hardpoint, they're pretty much up to beat every team. So that'd be good from the perspective of FaZe if they could keep hardpoint like that. Who knows if it'll stay like that, but it's nice to see it getting better. I have seen it get better and then just go right back down to them not knowing what they're doing. So who knows what FaZe you're going to get. It's a long qualifier, so I'm trying not to judge the qualifier because teams are just playing every map. There's so many maps, especially if you're a top team, you already know you're going to like make it to LAN, you know? If you're an LAT, a FaZe, an Optic, Paris, you already know you're going to qualify for Birmingham. Like you're not going to get below fucking 10th place. There's no way. So a lot of teams are just testing map pool. You're not going to use all your strats and the way that you like really want to play in like every single game. Obviously, you're going to have like fundamental, you're going to have a foundation for how you want to play, but you're not going to be like doing like your bread and butters. You're going to be trying stuff out. There's so many matches, so much time. Now's the time to make mistakes and everything in this qualifier, and then stuff starts to lock in again when like the schedule gets slimmer. So yeah, so this is a nice time to just test stuff out. So I'll really judge come the Major 2 LAN, but during this qualifier you just kind of see how teams are playing their hard points and overloads. They're trying stuff. We're playing the same maps over and over again, so don't expect teams to just be good at overload, be good at hard point all the time, you know? Like teams are gonna be trying stuff, like they might lose, you know, teams may not even be giving like their all in these qualifiers. But yeah, go from the perspective of FaZe, if you want to talk about the hard points and everything. So let's go back to the matches. Let's go back to the completed matches. I was actually already on the page and then I forgot it. Okay. Optic beat Cloud9 3-0. I mean, I'm not even going to talk about that, to be honest. I might have to just make a whole other video about Cloud9. Boston Breach losing to Vancouver. We just talked about Boston Breach for half an hour, but that was embarrassing. And I'm glad that happened because that's what sparked like the roster change. I swear to God, if they won that game, they probably still would have kept the roster. So I'm so glad the Call of Duty universe worked in the way it did and they made Vancouver win that series, because I swear Boston won, that would not have been good. They probably would have kept that roster. And then Falcons beat Carolina. So I guess we're going to get into quick thoughts on Carolina real quick. And I'm going to play this clip from the flank with Zuma asking a question.
In a series, they're just going to get fucking steamrolled regardless if it's online or on LAN.
Yeah, I mean, Duarte, what do you think is next for Carolina? Like, if you're in the Carolina camp, you're the GM. I mean, what do you even do? I mean, what do you just keep getting slammed every week? You just keep going through the motions?
Keep in mind, before you answer, keep in mind their GM is their coach, their social media guy, their everything. So he's very busy. He's very busy. I don't know if he'll have time to look into this issue.
That is true. He does 5 jobs at once, Pat. It's true. What do you think, Duarte?
Dude, I mean, I don't know. They're kind of in a position where they have that really good online stage, and they're kind of...
Okay, I'm going to intervene because, you know, number one CDL ESPN analyst out here, you know. Got to intervene. Have some options, okay? When you look at this roster of Exceed, I'll actually even pull it up on the screen, you know, because we actually like to talk about teams and have their name up on the screen. So if we look at this Carolina team and you look at all the pieces, it's like, there's not really like a thing that stands out for roster changes, you know? But I think some are necessary. And you're probably wondering who. I want to start by saying I think Lurks is a lock. I think you keep Lurks no matter what. He is a lock. Part of me even thinks that you keep Exceed as well. Part of me thinks you keep Exceed as well. I think Exceed should also be a lock. I think Lurks and Exceed should be locks. Nero and Craze are up for debate. I know Craze Had that great time in Challengers where he was just running at people. He's running at people. He's got great pace. He's running at people, okay? But the thing I don't like about Craze, and I said this at the beginning, but, they started to win their online qualifier games, so people like, Burrito, whatever, you don't know what you're talking about. But now you're seeing it right now because, I'm a long-term thinker. I'm a long-term take giver. My takes marinate, my takes marinate. They get better with time. And Craze, he's a fast player. I love that. He's an aggressive player. He got the gunny. It's great. But he makes a lot of mistakes. He makes a lot of mistakes. He does a lot of dumb stuff. And I feel like this team needs to transform their gameplay because I feel like a lot of times it's kind of just Exceed in the back, blocking a spawn, allowing Lurks and Craze to fly. I would make Lurks I would give Lurks the green light. Obviously, he could run wherever he wants. But I got some options here. Option number 1. I'm so sorry, Craze. I'm so sorry. Maybe it's not the team for you. I would drop Craze. I would switch Nero to a sub, and I would bring in Dylan Rex. I know it sounds crazy. I think, and it's so funny because you'd be joining the exact same org, but I think Slasher on the team with Dylan Rex, I don't know. I just think he got put into a hellhole last year, and there's not really much you could do about it. And a Dylan Rex consistently performs in challengers all the time. A lot of players are very high on Dylan Rex, a very good AR. There's not many good ARs, okay? There's not many good ARs. That's option number 1. Option number 2, I don't quite know about this one because I don't really want him on the same team again, is Geo in for Craze and then Nero on the sub. I don't quite know about that one. I'm not quite sure about that one. Okay. Option number 3. Because I think their personalities would actually be pretty good together. Okay. Option 3. You keep Nero on the AR. All these options are all fucking crazy being dropped, by the way. It's crazy. Standy in for Craze. A slower SMG who is better at getting kills and plays a bit slower, plays his life a bit more, which I think this Carolina team could use sometimes, especially with the pace that Nero and Lurks are flying at. And maybe it could make Exceed speed up a bit because it would switch the pace of the game. I just think Exceed... I know Exceed is thinking like he was like Skies. Exceed is thinking like he's Skies on Optic. The rest of my team is super fast. I need to play slow. And yes, there is some weight to that because when everyone's flying, someone got to block the spawn, someone got to do all that stuff. But everyone on this team has to learn how to do everything. It can't just be Craze and Lurks are flying around all the time. They also have to learn how to block a spawn if they're the person at the spawn in that area of the map at that time and allow Exceed and the others to go. Everyone has to be able to do that. It can't just be Exceed just slow the whole map and Lurks and Craze are flying the whole time, even though I would give Lurks the green light. That guy is actually Himothy. I'm not going to lie. He actually is Himothy. I have my doubts about him coming to the year, but that guy is actually holy fuck at this game. He's holy fuck at this game. That's all I got to say. Option number 4. And I think a team like Vancouver would be open to this. It would literally just be like a burgable swap. I'm giving Vancouver Craze, and I'm taking Abe. I don't think that one would happen. It's very unlikely, but I would reunite Abe and Lurks on this team. Abe and Lurks know how to play with each other. They can play around each other very well. They know the type of players that they are. Part of that with Exceed and Nero, more experienced players. Granted, Nero, he's experienced, but he's not like an experience. I don't know. He just like a different kind of experience. It's not like a mature, composed experience as much as I would say Exceed, but even Exceed is just like tweaking and he's fucking breaking down right now. But I would try to reunite Abe and Lurks on this team. I think that would be very interesting, honestly. I think that'd be very interesting. All of these options have to do with Craze leaving. I think Craze... It's one thing when you have the green light and you're averaging above like a 1.0, but it's another thing when you have like the green light and like you're costing. And like you're playing too fast, you don't preem enough, you lose a lot of big gunfights, leaves people in a unfortunate predicament, or you're hitting Old Hill with 2 seconds left when you should be rotating. All that stuff's unacceptable. And Craze is just like too fast, and he doesn't have anyone to like tell him that, because like Brian Sade's freaking busy doing a million fucking other things. But like Craze needs to slow it the fuck down, dude. I love fast players. Don't get me wrong, I love fast players, but you need to learn how to pre-aim. The gunfights in this game are so important. You lose one gunfight and there's nobody there like to pick it up, like you're pretty much costing in like a certain part of the map at a certain time, because like every kill is like so big on rotos and flipping spawns and everything. And I think Craze lacks in that department a lot. Like he's very good when like a person on his team is blocking the spawn and he's just like sprinting up like to get kills. Like he's probably like the best at that. Like that's probably his best attribute. But I mean, that's an attribute anyone could be good at. When your team's blocking a spawn, you just have to fucking run around and just get kills because you know where they spawn. But there's a whole element to his game that he is severely missing, and he's getting punished for at the pro level, which is what I said at the beginning of the season, because I know what I'm talking about. I was saying it during the Major 1 qualifiers. You can see it the way he plays. He's playing like he's still in challengers, and that's going to cost him. He needs to learn how to play at the professional level while not losing his best attributes, which is his speed and spawn killing, you know? But like, he needs to learn it's not all hero ball. You need to learn how to play a bit slower sometimes. It's not just green light, go, go, go with everybody. Somebody has to play a bit more methodical. That creates the balance within the team. Not playing slow, but not just like throwing your life away every single time. That's a big learning curve for Craze. And he doesn't have a coach there to teach it to him. Poor guy. Because like the coach is busy doing everything else. 0.88 in overload, number 44th in the league. 0.91 in hardpoint, 47th in the league. 0.92, 43rd in the league. There's 48 players, by the way. Not playing good right now. Not playing good right now. He's playing like he does in Challengers. Okay, so that's Carolina. And also, Exceed has to do better. Like, he's playing all right now, but like with that LAN that happened and then going 3 losses on the spin, granted you played in Paris and LAT back to back. I mean, no excuse for the Falcons game, you know? I think they're just, I think it's more, it's not like, obviously all these players are good, but I just think like the way they play is not good. And that's because like they don't really have like a real coach, but that's another thing entirely. But the way they play is not good because of the player attributes on the team. And I guarantee I could go break down a hard point. I could tell you a million things I do wrong, but will I really? They probably have to pay me for that. But yeah, that's Carolina. I'll leave it at that. I could talk for all these teams for like an hour. I could talk about all these teams. Falcons is kind of coasting. Like, we'll talk more about them next week. Honestly, we'll talk more about them next week. Talked about G2. Paris. Quick thoughts on Paris real quick. Quick thoughts on Paris. Paris does not look at 100%. I mean, they have all these wins. You just look, www. They're not doing anything wrong. I think, dude, either they're playing very inconsistent or they're just not giving their full effort into the online qualifiers. And I really think it's a combination of both. Like, I'm always just that type of player. Whenever he's on like a really good team, he like kind of lets his foot off the gas pedal when they're doing good. And I could tell they know it's a long qualifier. There's a lot of games. I know they're not going 100%. They're not using all their strats because I saw the way they played Colossus when they really wanted the win, and I saw the way they played Colossus when they played against Carolina Royal Ravens, and it was like 2 different games, like not the same game at all. Like, they played this game way different than like the actual Colossus that they actually play. So that's interesting. But I mean, the Colossus that they actually played, they had a big lead and they ended up getting come back on. So actually, it's a combination of both. And something I want to say about Sib real quick. Sib is very inconsistent, okay? He's very good at dealing damage, all that stuff. Very big in the interaction department, but he leaves a lot to be desired when it comes like the best of fives. I feel like in best of 9 grand finals, he is prime MC, he's prime Clay, like he's prime formal, he's chelling everything, he's ripping, he's filled with confidence, he's an actual Giga Chad on the map. But when it comes to just best of fives, even on LAN, on the qualifiers, he trolls so much for this team. I feel like he personally, especially in online qualifiers, makes their hard points way harder. He does a lot of bad things on the map. Like, he does a lot of good on the map, but like his bad things are the ones that like really make hard point hard on this team. He does a lot of mistakes on the map, and he's very aware of it. And in S&D, he's pretty much just a snipe merchant. Like, I'm not sure how good he actually is at S&D if you take the sniper away from him. Like, I'm really not sure how good he actually is when you take the sniper away from him. And he's the most inconsistent piece of their team. If he is actually playing at an all-time high, like, this team actually is going to keep winning, like, and they might still win all these qualifier matches because whatever their qualifier matches, but they're not playing at their best. And I'm not sure if I should judge it because it's qualifiers, a long qualifier. Like, they play Cloud9 up next. They're probably just not even going to try. They're going to kick their feet up. As I yawn. And then they play Koi, G2, Vancouver. And then they got Optic, Boston, FaZe, LAT. So, like, their final 4 matches, if you want to take the Boston one out, they play Optic, FaZe, and Thieves in, like, 3 out of their 4 last matches. So that's going to be pretty interesting. To see what they do there, because like when you play against the other top teams, like you want to beat them, like you want the confidence edge of, yeah, like you guys cannot beat us right now, like that. All these mental edges are big. I think whenever they go into matches against everybody else, they probably don't think about it as much, but when they're playing top teams, they probably want to make a statement. But yeah, there's still, I would honestly say Optic's like the best team right now, even though Paris is like quote unquote like the best team right now. But I see a lot more oomph when it comes to Optic, and we're not going to talk too much about Optic because I mean they're just like 4-0. I don't even know like what that goes there's to talk about. There's 4-0, like there's 4-0. Hook definitely needs to play better. His S&D is still bad. He's now a 0.68 at S&D, which is crazy. Maybe it's because they play Scar S&D all the time, but who knows? But map is pretty cheese, but he should not be playing that bad. Like, he's a 0.68 in S&D, and Merc's a 1.54. And they played freaking Den S&D twice this past weekend. So Hook definitely needs to improve. I feel like if he starts playing good, he actually starts playing up to the level he played last year. And he still has such low OBJ per 10, he needs to play better. Like, if you have like the lowest OBJ per 10 in the league, you better be putting up like a 1.10 in hard point, especially with that team you have. You have Shots, you got Merc, you got Dashy. Have to be improving, because when it comes to the end of the year, if this team doesn't win anything, he's the first to go. So you need to perform. Unfortunately, that's just a sad truth. You need to perform. You are the odd man out. And something I want to say about Dashy real quick. Obviously, we know how good of a player Dashy is, but he's a coaster. Like, he's actually a coaster. He is just coasting. I don't even think he's playing that great, but he's just there. He's just there doing what he needs to do. Nothing impressive out of Dashy. Pretty much Merc's the only standout player on this team. And then Shotzi obviously has like some takeover series, but Merc's like the only standout on this team. Everyone else is kind of just there. It's Merc and it's freaking Shotzi, and that's it. Everyone else is kind of just there. And they got a long qualifier, but Hook definitely needs to start seeing some improvement, especially for the amount of time that he plays this game. I definitely expect a lot more out of him. I don't know. I just expect a lot more out of a player who like grinds all the time. And especially last year, it's not like he's like playing more about the hill. Like, Merc is straight up screaming at him to get off the hill so he could get on the hill. And he's still not playing good. He's averaging a 0.68 in S&D. That's not good. Have to do better. I thought Miami played a good series against Optic. That was the best series of the whole weekend for me. Miami definitely could have won that game, but they didn't. It is what it is. That freaking Search and Destroy on Den was like the best Search and Destroy on Den I've seen in a long time. It was absolutely great. It was actually phenomenal. And LA Thieves is probably the last team I'll talk about before we wrap it up, because we're hitting the hour mark, and I'm going to leave it at the hour because the games are again like tomorrow. So I'll try to get the next Burrito Talk up on Monday or Tuesday next week. So quick thoughts on LAT. They're definitely playing better with Neum. So you hear Hydra saying it and you hear Abizi saying it. They're pacing. They felt like they were playing too fast with Kenny on the team. And I will elaborate that. And I have a video I was working on, and then I like passed out because it was like freaking midnight when I was working on it. A big thing. Whenever LA Thieves was like holding hills, freaking Kenny was doing way too much. This guy was flying out. He was just like trying to do too much. Felt like he was literally trying to prove something. Like, chill, brother, there's literally nothing to prove. And he was just doing way too much, and it was costing him too much. And it would mess up their setups and everything. They would lose hills because of it. They would have hill holds, and this motherfucker would just go flying out. And he was just doing too much on the map and just not winning the gunfights when he was in those scenarios. When you have a bit of a slower player like Neum, who guarantees kills a lot more. Granted, there are still pacing issues. You can see it on the map still. I don't think Thieves are playing great, but they're playing better. And they got 4 wins in a row. They could have never done that with Kenny. There's actually like no way they could have done that with Kenny like ever. So that's good that they got 4 wins on the spin. It's just like a momentum builder. And their next game's against Optic, and it's on Saturday. And we're going to be there watching that. And then they got FaZe, and then they got Miami. So that's a big 3 games for them to see where they really are against 3 really good teams. And then they got Cloud9, they got Falcons, they got Minnesota, and then the last game's against Paris. So these next 3 games are going to be the ones I really start to judge LA Thieves. I'm going to leave these past 4 games that they played alone. They played like a Koi where like Kips just came into Toronto, probably didn't have time to settle. They played Boston, they played Carolina, they played Vancouver. So now these next games against Optic, FaZe, we're going to really judge. So their only game this weekend is against Optic. That's the only game they play. It's on Saturday. So it's going to be the only game I judge from them. So we're going to really get into the LA Thieves judgment. I like to see that Hydra's on the hill more. It's actually great to see. Not saying it's anything crazy, but he is on the hill a lot more. Him with a 42 OBJ per 10 is actually really impressive. I'm not going to lie. Like, him having a 52, usually it's like 42, 43. That's what it was last year. So a 52 for him is crazy. Crazy. But yeah. And even like a Beezus OBJ per 10, he's at a 71, dude. Just tells you everything you need to know. Yeah, I'm going to leave my thoughts there. I mean, we're just going through a period in like the online qualifiers where it's like people are just like testing stuff. You know, there's a lot of games. We'll really see a lot more when it comes to like the big games, because like big teams are going to try to get big wins against the other big teams. So obviously it's going to mean more. But yeah, these qualifiers for the most time, we're just going to be monitoring trajectories. I can't even speak. Crazy. We're going to be monitoring trajectories of teams and wherever they're going. I'm going to be talking about a lot more stuff. Follow my Twitter. I tweet a lot. I have the best takes in the whole competitive Call of Duty community. I have the best takes. 100%. Follow my Twitter up above, BORI70S. And yeah, guys, that will conclude this episode of the Burrito Talk podcast. I am your host, Burrito, the number 1 CDL, ESPN analyst / content creator in the world. Au revoir, goodbye. We'll see you next time. Peace.